All right, hey kids, welcome to your second day of virtual school. Happy second day of virtual school. At least that's what I'm calling it. Your first day though with me because you didn't have Spanish on Monday. But anyways, I am making this video so that you guys can see me and I can tell you what this week looks like for us. This is for my Spanish 2 kids, so if you're not a Spanish 2 kid, get to a different video. Anyways, I'm outside. I stole this idea from Miss Knable. She was like, I might as well just record some things outside, and I said, that's a great idea because it's beautiful. So if I'm out of breath, it's because I'm walking too fast. But anyways, let me get to what we're doing today. So today, what I have for you guys is to work on conjugamos again, because I want you to really solidify your ability to know if something needs to be in preterite or imperfect tense, okay? That's really what we're going to focus on for the rest of this week. Even though there's been multiple different grammar things you've been learning the last 2 weeks without me, we're going to just focus on preterite versus imperfect because that's one of those confusing things that is very helpful to get to know. So after this introduction, I'm gonna go to a part where I'm explaining it to you guys a little bit more in depth, just in case you may not quite understand it as well yet, and hopefully that will help clear up some questions you may have in the activities that you've been working on, because I graded, as you probably noticed, a little bit harder than I normally do because now I'm able to. So we're gonna get that to where you guys can really start to know, start to determine the difference easily on your own. So that's what we're focusing on today, some more preterite versus imperfect practice. And then, so that's Tuesday. Today's Tuesday, April 7th. And then on Thursday, I'm gonna put a live Zoom meeting with you guys, which I'm very excited for because then we get to see each other and say hello. Some of you may have already done Zoom with Miss Knable and some of your other teachers, but I can't wait to see you all together again. Sadly, we won't have Nathan and Reggie with us because I'm just gonna group them with the Spanish 1 class because, I mean, we don't need the confusion. Maybe later on we can add them in for funsies, but for now it's just gonna be us 7 Spanish 2 students and me. So we're gonna do our live Zoom on Thursday so that you guys can ask me any questions and I can continue to explain the preterite versus imperfect and help you guys study for your test. And that's what Friday looks like. Friday is your test, so get that in your head. I'm gonna say it again later, but on Friday, that's when you're having your test, okay? So Tuesday study and, well, Tuesday is review preterite and imperfect. Thursday is live Zoom and study, and then Friday is test. And really throughout the week, you should be studying at least 15 minutes, like besides this on the day that you have Spanish. So like Tuesday and Thursday, you should be studying. You should already have been studying your Quizlet a lot and the difference between preterite and imperfect. So this, I'm really wanting you guys to really focus on this, and I know that you have done well taking your notes, but I want you to revisit those notes so that you can really solidify how well you know these things. Okay, so one last time, Tuesday is preterite versus imperfect, conjugamos, and studying. Thursday is a live Zoom with questions and studying, and then Friday is our test, okay? So I'm gonna swipe it over to me being inside and explaining preterite and imperfect to you guys. Alrighty kids, so here is our overview of how you know when to use preterite versus the imperfect. So Remember, these are the conjugations that we use for things that happened in the past. These are both past tense conjugations. We're not going to go over the forms today. We're just going to go over the uses, all right? So, firstly, let's put preterite over here versus imperfect over here. All right, good. Hopefully I can write this semi-legibly for you guys today. All right, so the main thing about preterite is that preterite is used for actions that were completed in the past. So actions completed. Completed is the big word right there. In the past. And I forgot to say this at the beginning of these videos, but I want you guys to take notes. So if you haven't already, pause this video right now and get out your notebook and write this down, okay? So that you have it out there for yourself to know and to study, okay? So, all right, you should have your paper out now. Thanks for pausing me and getting your paper. If you don't have your paper, you should get your paper now. So, anyways, okay. Imperfect. We have preterite imperfect. Imperfect is used, Lord, if I can actually use English. Imperfect is used for actions that happened repeatedly in the past, all right? So those are the big main things. So actions happening repeatedly. That's the main thing. So preterite, completed, imperfect, repeated in the past. In the past. Okay? Yes. So another good way to think about preterite is that that action has a clear start or finish. And in the imperfect, you have an unknown beginning or end. And then preterite is used to talk about a duration of time, whereas imperfect is used to say what time it was, or to describe the weather or the setting. So if you were like telling a story and you were saying like, it was a sunny day at 9 in the morning, that's something that you would use imperfect for. Okay? And we'll go over some examples on conjugamos as well before this video is over. So we have what time, weather, scene, setting. This is also used for a series of completed actions. Okay? Is there anything else? This is one more thing. Imperfect is used to describe physical or mental state. So that is more of an ongoing thing. Like you aren't just happy and then you're done being happy. You would say, I was sad. So that's something that's used for Lord. That is something where you use imperfect. Okay, so if you guys, now as you guys are looking at this further, a good place to find these in your book is for preterite page 110 and for imperfect page, hopefully I won't make it to where you can't see it. Ah. Page, refocus, there we go. Page 194. Awesome, good. So make sure you have all this written down. I'm about to switch over so that we can do some examples, okay? Alrighty, so this is one of the Conjugamos websites you're going to be doing today. I'm going to have you do this preterite versus imperfect number 1 and number 2, but I'm going to help you with a bunch of these ones for number 1. Okay, so remember that preterite, the main thing is that preterite is used for verbs that are actions that were completed in the past. So they had one time that they did that and it was completed, and that imperfect were actions that were happening repeatedly. So things that either were ongoing or happened many times, and you'll see as we go on that sometimes, well, oftentimes it's very hard to discern which one is which. So let's look at the first one together. So the way you figure it out, right, is by looking at the context around it. So, cuando yo ser joven. So when I, ser is to be, so when I was young, right? When I was young. So being young, in that past time, you were young for that whole time, right? So that was an ongoing state of being. So if you can't remember what the imperfect conjugation for ser is, I think the best place to go is Spanish dictionary, okay? So you want to go here, look up ser, and you can just go down here to conjugation. Now, if it helps you better to write them out and remember, that would be good too. So let's look at our preterite and imperfect. We've determined that it's going to be imperfect. So we're going to say yo is era. So cuando yo era joven, yo siempre, I'm going to scoot this way again. I always visitar, so visitar is to visit, a mis abuelos. So I always visited my grandparents on the coast of Puerto Rico. All right, so saying I always visited my grandparents, would that be preterite or imperfect? At first, see, I was doing this earlier to make sure that I was doing it right. And at first I thought that it was preterite because I was like, I visited my grandparents. That's the thing that happened once. But no, since I always, that's very important. That's why you got to look at all the words and know what it means. So if like you forgot what siempre meant for a second, just quickly go through, look it up. Right, siempre means always, right? So if it's something that I always did, I always visited my grandparents, that's something that's ongoing. So it's still yo, visitar. Remember the endings for imperfect are aba, abas, aba, vamos, abais, aban. And visitar is just normal. So it's visitaba. Okay, and you can always remember, you can always double check yourself on Spanish dictionary, but I feel pretty confident about that one. All right, so these ones were both for yo. Look at the end of the sentence and look at the new ones, mis abuelos. Now it is talking about mis abuelos. So my grandparents, vivir means to live. So my grandparents lived in a small house. So that is an ongoing thing. And if it is both of them, we want the third person plural imperfect form of vivir. Okay, so remember the endings for the IR, ER, and IR verbs in imperfect are different than the AR verbs because AR is aba, but then ER, so if we do vivir, but ER is all this madness over here once it comes up. There we go. All this ia, ias, ia, iamos, iais, ian. So vivian is the answer that we want. Vivi. on. And don't forget your accents. It'll count you wrong if you don't have an accent. Very important, as we know. All right. So my grandparents lived in a small house that, it was enfrente de, that one, do you guys remember that? What that means? Enfrente, what does it kind of sound like? In front of, enfrente de, so let me double check myself. I'm pretty sure I'm right, but no, enfrente de. Oh, wow. So I was wrong. Across from. Good thing to know. Across from the beaches, the pretty beaches in the, yes, the pretty beaches on the island. So across from. So they were across from. So now it's talking about the casa pequeña. So it's no longer talking about mis abuelos. And it's talking about how that house was always across from the pretty beaches. It was always across from the pretty beaches in the past. So that is also imperfect. Spoiler alert, most of these questions are imperfect, okay? So I'm going to give you these 4 and then one of the preterites. But anyways, this one won't be estaban because it's not mis abuelos who were across from. It was the pequeña casa, the small house. So this will be estaba. Okay, so make sure you're figuring out, make sure you know which subject the verb is going to, because that's very important. All right, so I'm going to put X's on these because we're not going to go over these. You guys are going to figure those out on your own. But here, 10 is the first one that we have that's preterite. I was doing this and I was like, there's so many imperfect Y's. So now you know all these up here are imperfect. But 10 is preterite because it says yo ir, so ir to go. I go to their house, or, oh, not I go, sorry. We're in the past tense. Haha. I went to their house for 7 consecutive, right? Consecutivos veranos. Veranos is summers. We can double check me again, but, oh. I'm hitting my tripod here. Veranos, yeah, veranos. Summers, veranos. That's the plural of it. So I went to their house for 7 consecutive summers. So those 7 specific times, that's one thing to look out for with preterite, is that you want specific numbers of things. So specifically, I went, so it's fui. Remember, Maya likes fui. Fui a su casa por 7 veranos consecutivos hasta que ellos. Hasta que you may need to know for the clue of the next sentence. So hasta que, if you forgot what that means, look it up. Until, so it says I went to their house for 7 consecutive summers, 7 summers consecutivos, until they decidir, and decidir is decided, right? So until they decided, that decision was a one-time thing. They decided mudarse, and I looked up mudarse and it means to move. They decided to move to another part of the island, okay? So if they decided, and that's in preterite. If you don't remember, the preterite for IR verbs is iste, io, imos, istes, ieron. Okay? It's so interesting how close they are, but the preterites always have, for this one, has R's in it. Okay? So, we went decidieron. Decidieron. There we go. Alright. We're gonna double check my answers real quick. Oh, I got 38% because the other ones are not right. But the ones that we did work on are oh no, that was not correct. I wonder why. Oh, no. Is that right? Oh, you know what it is? I put an I instead of an E. So watch yourselves as you're doing this, kids. The C, D, arrow. You gotta get every little thing right. There we go. All right, good. So those are the first few answers for that. Work on this as well as I will link this to you guys. But it's conjugamos, preterite versus imperfect, part 2. So you guys will do this one all on your own, okay? And when you're done, I'll put this as your on your assignment as well, but I want you to take a picture of what you get, and actually be careful because sometimes it doesn't let you. So once you get the last one right, take a picture of that, okay? I'll put that on there as well. So make sure you take a picture right before you get the last one right, or at least when you have only one more wrong. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, have fun, good luck, and please let me know if you have any questions, and remember that this is going to help you review and figure out, better solidify in your mind how to distinguish between preterite and imperfect. And on Thursday when we do our live, we will continue to go through this and go through any things that you're confused on. All right, I will see you guys on Thursday.